We pray for Spirit to inspire us with insight and understanding and lead us to wisdom and light as we learn through this course. Dear listener, welcome to episode 15 on the Path to Light Fundamental of Practice, Chapter 5, Part 3.
Part 3. Esotericism, Meditation. Esotericism consists of returning to our inner self, keeping our mind calm and unaffected by outside secular thoughts. In this status of silence and emptiness, one may discover the true self and become united with the divine essence, thereby realizing enlightenment. Esotericism forgoes the pompous physical rituals which differ from one faith tradition to the other. As one enters that level of spirituality, differences fade among religions. Practitioners of esotericism from any faith tradition converge in their spiritual experience inasmuch as our inner spirit is the same. The more we connect with esotericism, the less there will be religious conflict and the nearer is harmony and unity. This way of practice leads to peace within and without, the ultimate final goal of everyone. It constitutes the author's main practice, and we recommend it to be part of spiritual learning. Esoteric practice was taught initially by the Supreme Being to the first CaoDai disciple, Mr. Nyo Van Chiu, at the beginning of the founding of CaoDai. Mr. Nyo Van Chiu later developed the esoteric path, the Chiu Min Bo Vi. This path remains secretive and limited to a small number of devoted CaoDaists. It involves stringent demands on personal commitment. There are other more practical ones.
Other major methods of esotericism exist in CaoDai, namely a Taoist technique taught by Đông Phương Lão Tổ through the spiritual seance by the Cơ quan Phổ thông Giáo lý or Organization of Spreading the Teachings of the Great Way in 1966. This technique is an emptiness meditation. Another technique of cultivation of the body, mind, and spirit was taught by the 8th female Buddha by Spiritualism Session from Tây Ninh CaoDai Organization in 1979. This method consists of 4 steps. First one, luyện tinh hóa khí, or transformation of the physical energy into the vital chi. Second step, luyện khí hóa thần, transformation of the vital chi into spiritual energy, realizing the oneness of body, mind, and spirit. Third step, luyện thần quần hư, transformation of the spirit into the status of absolute quietness. Step 4, luyện hư quần vô, transformation of quietness into the status of nothingness. With CaoDai techniques, the person directs the chi flow through chakra of the body to open the third eye center and the crown chakra, quyền quan khiếu, realizing the unification with the divine or enlightenment. Regarding specific meditational practices, we have found that 3 approaches performed at the same time work best for us. That is, harmonizing the body, harmonizing the breath, and harmonizing the mind.
Hello. Harmonizing the body. The lotus position is the one classically taught for quieting the body. This is a cross-legged sitting position originating in the meditative practices of ancient India, in which the feet are placed on opposite thighs. Although the lotus position does quiet the body, it proves difficult for some of us. In this case, we can adopt the semi-lotus position, in which only one foot is placed on the opposite thigh and the other foot stays on the floor. We can also do a regular cross-legged position, or we can sit on a chair or lie down. All muscles must be relaxed and comfortable, paying particular attention to the muscles of the face. A practical approach is to relax gradually, beginning with the head and then moving to the trunk and to the extremities. While doing so, send positive thoughts to all the cells of the body, greeting them with love. Keeping the spine straight will help the flow of qi, which Eastern philosophy recognizes as the vital life force that flows through the body and has the role of harmonizing the function of many bodily organs. This teaching is the foundation of acupuncture practice. Many texts insist on the straight position of the spine. With your eyes semi-closed, direct your focus to a certain object. In the CaoDai faith, usually a light, a statue, or the divine eye. One can also use sound, focusing on prayers or mantras such as Om, thought to be the vibrational sound of the creative cosmos. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, the Sanskrit peace mantra. Namo Adi Dat Fat, commitment to the Buddha of immeasurable life and light. Om Mani Padme Hum, literally praise to the jewel in the lotus, having to do with the purification of all vices and the achievement of all perfections. Namo CaoDai Tien Ong Dao Bo Tat Maha Tat, as described already, is the CaoDai mantra, or just Namo CaoDai Tien Om.
Harmonizing the body is followed by harmonizing the breath. In order to quiet the mind of its incessant chatter, we need to find something on which to focus. It could be an object or a sound, as previously mentioned, or even a good peaceful thought, such as that of a quiet lake at twilight, or of sending compassion to another. One of the most convenient focuses consists in following our breath, inhaling gently and deeply, and then exhaling slowly and completely. While inhaling, imagine the flow of breath moving from the mouth or nose down to the heart, the abdomen, and the pelvis. Hold the breath for a couple of seconds while imagining the breath dropping to the end of the spine, and then exhale, bringing the breath up the spine until you reach the third eye located between the two physical eyes, and then allowing the breath to concentrate there, and finally let it go out from the crown chakra. This corresponds to the transformation of physical energy to the vital chi and the transformation of vital energy to spiritual energy, or the first two steps, luyện tinh hóa khí, luyện khí hóa thần. And repeat the breathing until automatic breathing bring about stillness of the mind, transformation of the spirit into the absolute quietness, or luyện thần quần hư. When the breathing becomes automatic, it will bring about the stillness of the mind. And so we are transforming the spirit into absolute quietness. The chi flow continues without us being aware. When one harmonizes the breath in this way, the mind starts to clear. At first, thoughts will often arise. Should thoughts arise, such as about what to make for dinner, the need to put gas in the car, the need to call a friend, just acknowledge the thoughts and let them pass by. The very nature of thoughts is that they will arise, persist, and then pass away. We do not become upset about the intervening thoughts or try to chase them out, as this would arouse even more disturbances. We simply let the thoughts drift away. In our experience, we minimize intervening thoughts by addressing the preoccupying matters before the meditation session, like writing down what we are preoccupied with on a piece of paper, and this writing down on the paper helps the mind to rest.
Harmonizing the mind. Harmonizing the mind is the ultimate final goal of meditation. It is more or less easy to attain, depending on the state of the breath and the body. If the breath is harmonized and the body is relaxed, harmonizing the mind is facilitated. The minds of most, if not all, tend to wander and even race around. It is expressed in Eastern culture as the monkey's mind or the horse's mind, meaning that it chatters incessantly like a monkey and moves uncontrollably like a wild horse. If, during meditation, you find your mind thinking of different issues, recognize that it is wandering, but do not get upset or resist. Instead, simply return your focus from the thought either to your breathing, to your visual object, or to your chosen sound, mantra, or prayer. Maintaining an undisturbed body, regular rhythmic breathing, and total concentration on an object or a repeated mantra will all help the mind attain quietness. In this state, a person will not recall the past or worry about the future or even the present. The ears may hear charming voices and melodious music, but the mind should remain undisturbed. The eyes may see beautiful things, but the mind remains indifferent. The person learns to detach from worldly desires and illusionary phenomena, and the mind progresses towards equanimity. The divine self is unveiled in serene stillness, and the person is embraced in total peace.
Harmonizing the body, harmonizing the breath, and harmonizing the mind will help the person to detach from worldly desires and illusionary phenomena, and the mind would progress toward equanimity or an empty mind. The divine self is unveiled in serene stillness, and the person is embraced in total peace. We will now see the 5 steps of evolvement in meditation. The ultimate final goal of meditation is to reach union with God. The regular practice of meditation leads to spiritual evolvement toward this goal in 5 discernible steps. Giới or self-purification, định or concentration, huệ or clarity, tri kiến or wisdom, and giải thoát or liberation. We have seen these 5 steps being symbolized in the 5 incenses in the incense burner. The ultimate final goal of meditation is to reach union with God. The regular practice of meditation leads to spiritual evolvement in 5 discernible steps. The first one, giới, or the way of self-purification. In that, a person eventually needs to reach a godly state of purity in order to become unified with the divine. Purification should address the 6 sense organs of our body: ears, eyes, nose, tongue, body, and mind. We should listen to right, true, and uplifting words. Look at right, pure, and beautiful things. Smell the right, fresh and pleasant odor. Speak the right, just, and respectful language. Engage in right, virtuous, and helpful activities. Contemplate right, sober, and compassionate thoughts. Right means not harming any being. Literally meaning restriction, giới is a Vietnamese word that refers in part to observing the precepts. It corresponds with the Christian concept of commandment, having to do with prohibitions against killing, stealing, committing adultery, becoming intoxicated, and sinning by words. The prohibition against killing is an essential teaching of all traditions, especially stressed in Buddhism, Hinduism, and CaoDai. Its corollary resides in the observation of a vegetarian diet. The commandments against stealing and adultery constitute aspects of the golden rule. Do not do to others what you don't want others to do to you. The edict against becoming intoxicated preserves the health and purity of our physical and mental aspect, and thus the clarity of our spiritual body. To avoid sinning by speech, avoid lying, avoid harsh, impure language, avoid slandering others, is a primary virtue leading to harmony in the society. When one wants to see good changes in life, one must start with disciplining the self in accordance with these precepts. One restrains from harming others, realizes peace inside oneself, and builds a peaceful community. As mentioned above, one needs to control one's desire, greed, and negative emotion in order to realize love and peace in the community. The self-purifying practice of giới literally means restriction, enhances meditation, and in return, meditation enhances giới. Since meditation aids in the detachment from secular desires and adverse emotion, and so facilitates following the precepts. If we may have mastered the giới or the self-purification step, we have accomplished a major step.
Then, concentration is the second step in evolving through meditation. It means to remain concentrated on our inner self so as not to be disturbed by worldly matters. When our mind is not wandering around, not attached to any thought, we will be in a state of equanimity and become closer to the divine. Clarity, is the third step in which our mind will become clear and bright. We attain in clarity of everyday thought and act in more relevant ways. Although devotion of time for meditation appears as a waste of time, the clarity and relevance of thought assists us experiencing a more pleasant, joyful life and the effective use of time. Tri Kiến, wisdom. The fourth step is the state in which we will reach a universal knowledge. Giải thoát, liberation. The fifth and final step is that in which we will be united with the divine principle, liberated from karmic attachments. This state is known as nirvana in Buddhism and mukti in Hinduism. In these 5 steps, then, meditation leads us to detachment from the turmoil of everyday life to a state of silence, referred to as bliss by some faith traditions, in which the divine principle will surface. When your outer world becomes tranquil, the most sacred heart may be reached. One can then discern the true and the false, even among 10,000 things. When one realizes that nothing is true or false, one has no more attachment. Then one rejoins the Master at the White Pearl Place.
That quote comes from Chí Tinh, vấn đề tịnh luyện với môn sinh CaoDai, from 1997, page 6. So, again, the 5 steps of evolvement in meditation is first, giới or self-purification, second, định or concentration, third, huệ or clarity, fourth, tri kiến or wisdom, and fifth, giải thoát or liberation. This is the end of episode 15 on esotericism and meditation. Nam mô Cao Đài Tiên Ông Đại Bồ Tát Ma Tát. Thank you for listening.